Hello, all my dear friends. This is Maxine Taylor, your astrologer, and I've got the United States forecast for the month that we are in. You know, I always get to it, but it's a few days behind after the month has already begun. Um, I do my best, but hey, you know. I do my best. So let's talk about, first of all, what's going on. Mercury, of course, is getting ready to go retrograde. Hang on one second. Here it is here. Um, it's going to go retrograde. It enters the shadow of the retrograde. It's already entered the shadow on June 30th. And this, of course, explains so much of what we're feeling. It will go retrograde July 18th. Um, it will go direct on August 11th and then immediately move into that shadow, and it will come out of that shadow August 25th. What do we do on the retrograde Mercury? We tie up the loose ends of unfinished business. Okay? We don't start new projects. And so that is very telling as I go through this forecast. If you, and I'll get to that in a minute. If I have not done your forecast for the next 6 months or the coming year, I'm happy to tell you that if you go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com, I am offering a summer special. Take advantage of it because when you know what's going on in your life, you are prepared. Okay, so I'm going to go through each of these um, charts. Here we go. And here we go. All righty. I'm going to start with the sun, the center of our life. Remember that July 4th is the birthday of the United States. And when we have a solar return, which is what this is, the sun returns to its natal place in its in your birth chart, and in this case, the U is the United States. Um, Things happen beautifully. Now, on the 21st, the sun moves into our second house of money, and I'm going to, excuse me, our third house of communication. It sits in our second house of money before that, and I'm going to give you the mundane interpretations of these positions. So, in fact, let me just go ahead and give that to you now, so I'm not keeping you holding. The with the sun in the second house rules money, our earnings, our finances, the stock exchange, banks, debts, escrow, and trade. So when the sun is in this second house, that's what is activated. And you might be saying, well, will I feel it in my wallet? I don't know. I have no idea where it's going to go, but it is activated. On the 21st, the sun moves into the third house of the zodiac. Um, in a mundane chart, it deals with communication, news, reporters, um, the mail, public opinion, traffic, travel, books, newspapers, neighborhoods, schools, teachers, and public transportation. So here we are with the reporters. The sun is sitting on Mercury, and that means there's a lot of talking. That's it. A lot of talking. It doesn't mean there's action, but it's talking. Now, when Mercury goes direct, and we'll talk about Mercury in a minute, um, then there'll be action. Now, the sun sits on the north node on the 30th of the month. And what this does is it gives a very positive spin to the news that we are receiving. I think this is very powerful. Now, um, the full moon is going to be on the 10th, and it's behind the ninth cusp. It's in the eighth house. So the eighth house is secrets, death, uh, the treasurer, debts, escrow, taxes, and losses. So there are hidden negotiations about that. And so when a planet is behind, just behind the cusp, it is hidden from view. Okay. The new moon is on the 24th, and it is sitting right smack dab on that third house that I talked about. And so communication picks up again, correspondence, travel. And of course, people are traveling, but this can be very positive. We will not find the Mercury going direct, however. I just flipped subjects on you, until it not only goes direct, but moves out of the second shadow, and that will be next month. All righty. The next topic I want to talk to you about is Mercury itself. And Mercury, as I said, is sitting on that north node. And whenever that north node is triggered, it's good news. It sits on the IC, the MMCLE, the fourth house cusp. That fourth house cusp is where things go direct with this particular Mercury. So let me read to you what the fourth house rules. Real estate, the party out of power. In other words, the Democrats are going to be getting it together. Okay? They're going to be talking. Now, doesn't mean they'll be acting on things, but they are preparing. And so there is communication. Domestic affairs, weather, lands, builders, crops, mines, farmers, and seniors. And so when Mercury stops and goes finally direct and forward, we're going to find that the party out of power is more vocal. And you might say, well, what does that mean? It means that they'll be speaking more and perhaps giving us more information that they have gathered. Okay? All righty, let's keep on going here. I think I'm going to go with um, Jupiter and Mars because they're so different. Jupiter is the greater benefic. It brings blessings. It's in your second house, the United States. I'm talking to the country just like it's a human being. It sits in this beautiful second house of money all month. It sits on Venus, which amplifies the increase of money. It sits on its own natal place, and so there's even more money. And then it sits on the sun. So all month, Jupiter is helping create money. Whose pockets will it fall in? That remains to be seen. Now, Mars, the red planet, boy, it's in the fourth house of home, family, and real estate. And I've read you um, everything that I've got down here in small print, it deals with seniors. There's an anger from these groups, real estate people, seniors, farmers, etc. Because Mars is what we fight with and fight for. It moves into the fifth house. Now, this is very interesting. Um, and sits on Neptune. Neptune is like smoke. It's wishful thinking. It can be a dream, and Mars kicks it and says, let's get going here. Let me read you the fifth house in a natal chart of a country. Children, fun, sports, gambling, the theater, um, the birth rate, congressional and public hearings, stadiums, and teachers. Now, Neptune is the dream. And with what Mars is, go get him now. Out of my way. I'm doing my thing, my way. Neptune says, oh, let's just slow it down and put our dream into action. So it's iffy. It's a very interesting planet. And it will be activated by Mars from the 26th till the 28th. And so children especially. And I watched the news the other day, and sports, as we know, have really taken off. And this particular month and last month, I said years ago that football is a socially acceptable way to fight war. And that's true. We need an outlet, and we've channeled it in a positive way. All right, let's see what else I've got here. All right, I've already done the Mars thing. Venus, gosh, I love Venus. Venus is in pink. It's in the 12th house of secrets, secret societies. Let me read you this one. Bribery, spies, hidden enemies, prison, jails, hospitals, criminals, mines, charitable institutions, seclusion, the past, secret societies, and welfare. Now, Venus is the lesser benefic. It brings the good stuff. So everything going on with Venus is hidden. Don't ask your representatives. They don't know. And if they did, they're not going to tell you. It crosses the ascendant of the United States chart. And the people, the attitude of the people changes. It's loving, it's joyful, it's happy. Does that mean they're not going to fight? No, it does not mean that. They probably will fight the crowds, the people, but there is a loving touch that has been added. I know that sounds weird, but I'm just reading them, kids. I don't create them. It's the attitude and political mood of the people, this first house, and public health. Healing will take place. So Venus sits on the ascendant of the United States chart, which is Gemini in the chart I use, and people start getting happy. It triggers Uranus. My handwriting is atrocious. We all know that. It sits on Uranus, the rebel. Does that mean that there's going to be gunfire? I don't know. Not with that, but give me a minute and I'll get back to you on that one. Um, it is ready to do something different. perhaps vote for something a certain way that they hadn't thought they would. This is the people, and they're rebelling. Then on the 22nd, Venus sits on Mars. Well, Venus is love and Mars is passion. And the first time I saw Mars activated was several years ago, uh, when the election came through. And well, I won't go back to that, but what Mars does is it fights. It fights for you, which is the people, and it fights with you, and it fights against you. It depends on the issue. So first there's rebellion, and then there is fighting. And Mars rules gunfire is what it does. So I think I've covered everything. Um, I'm very excited about the fact that um, Mercury is sitting on the nadir of the United States chart. I like the idea that uh, the people involved, and these are the people out of power, are talking about what they can do. And when Mercury goes direct, we'll see if it is activated, which it probably will be. And we will then know what they've been talking about. So, what a day. I hope your July 4th was filled with love, filled with joy. And as always, join me in a month and we'll do it again. So, my blessing for you, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours. And God bless the United States. Bye for now.